Hi guys, and welcome back to another championship prediction video. Moving on to round 7, but quick recap on round 6. I correctly predicted 3 scores, and it was Blues to beat Derby 2-0, Stoke beating Huddersfield 2-1, and Forest losing 2-1 to Cardiff. So there's 3 scores correct, beat my target of 2, which is good. Let's see if we can keep it up. So let's see what I've put for round 7. Starting off on Tuesday, and it's Bournemouth versus QPR, which looks like a very entertaining game. Now, Bournemouth in the last game beat Barnsley 3-0 and are currently unbeaten. QPR, they were 3-1 down against Reading, but pulled it back to 3-3, so they're also unbeaten. And I don't see that changing for either side. I think it's going to be full of goals, but I don't think anyone's going to get the decisive winner. So I'm putting a 2-2 draw. Moving on to Blackburn versus Hull now. And Blackburn drew their last game 2-2 with Luton. And they've conceded in every game they've played so far in the Championship this season. Hull, on the other hand, they've drawn their last 2 games 0-0. And they haven't scored in 5 games. So since that opening day victory over Preston. And just with that, I think Blackburn are finally going to keep a clean sheet because Hull can't score. So I'm going to go for Blackburn to win 1-0. Going on now to Blackpool versus Huddersfield. And Blackpool, they got the shock of the last round. They beat Fulham 1-0, which was a great result. And I don't think anyone would have expected it, not even Blackpool fans. So that will hopefully fill them with a bit of confidence and make them push on for this game. Huddersfield, they've started very strongly. They did lose 2-1 to Stoke, but I did think Stoke were going to win 2-1 as I correctly predicted. And if Huddersfield can still be picking up points now, they'll be fine this season. With this game, I really think Blackpool are going to build on that win against Fulham. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw. The next game is Sheffield United versus Preston. And Sheffield United would have been so glad when that international break came along. They were very poor before it. And it showed because the game after, they go and beat Peterborough 6-2. Which is just a crazy scoreline. And I think they're going to build on it here. Preston, they drew their last game 0-0 with Bristol City. They are unbeaten in 3, but I think Sheffield United have too much quality and it's probably going to all start gelling together now for them. So I'm going for Sheffield United to win this one 2-0. Moving on now to 2 teams who have both really struggled to get going this season and are both sitting in the relegation zone on 4 points. It's Reading versus Peterborough. And Reading, they were 3-1 up against QPR. John Swift had a hat-trick. He's had a brilliant start to the season. But they just couldn't hold on and QPR got back into it 3-3. And Peterborough, they lost 6-2 to Sheffield United. And they haven't been good away this season. They've really struggled. So it's quite difficult to call. But I think something's telling me that Peterborough are just going to get something out of this game because Reading, they can't seem to hold on to a lead when they have one. And I'm thinking it's going to be high scoring as Reading's games so far have been very high scoring and Peterborough just lost 6-2. Again, high scoring. So I'm going to go for a high scoring draw with a 2-2. Now the last game for Tuesday is West Brom versus Derby. Now West Brom, they're top of the league, they're still unbeaten, and they got a 1-1 draw against Millwall last time out. Derby, they lost 2-0 to Blues. They didn't play great, they didn't really cause much of a threat. And I don't think it's going to get much easier from here as West Brom are a quality team and they've got a bit too much for Derby. So I'm going West Brom to win 2-0. On to Wednesday's fixtures and starting off with Blues versus Fulham. Now, Fulham, they were unbeaten in the league, but that's gone now as they lost 1-0 to Blackpool, which was a very poor result. Blues, on the other hand, we beat Derby 2-0, we look strong, and we've kept 4 clean sheets in our first 6 league games, which is joint top of clean sheets out of everyone. I'm pretty sure we've conceded the least goals as well, only 3. So we're very, very good defensively, and it's really making me think we can keep this Fulham side out. If Blackpool can, why can't we? I am being a bit biased here when I'm going for it, and I'm going more optimistic because I think it will probably be a 1-1 draw. But the optimistic side of me is saying, Blues have got this. We're going to put down a real statement of intent, and we're going to sort of show everyone that we mean business this season. And that's why I'm going for Blues to win this 1-0. Now on to Bristol City versus Luton. And Bristol City, they drew 0-0 with Preston. Luton, they drew 2-2 with Blackburn. And I'm not seeing many goals in this game. Luton haven't scored too many this season. Bristol City have been quite quiet as well. I think this is going to be the 0-0. Coventry versus Cardiff next. And Coventry are 4 wins from 6 games. Last time out, they beat Middlesbrough 2-0, which was a very good result. Cardiff, they've got 3 wins, 2 draws, and they beat Nottingham Forest 2-1. This game is so tight, it's so difficult to call. It could go either way. Most sensible thing to do would probably be 1-1, sit on the fence, but I'm not going to do that. And it's because Coventry are playing at home, and it's just making me think they're going to have that little bit of an edge. So I'm going Coventry to win 2-1. On to the next game, which is Forest versus Middlesbrough. And this is a strange one because Nottingham Forest, they've obviously started terribly. They're on 1 point. They've lost 5 of their 6 games. But Middlesbrough haven't been impressive to me at all. They haven't won in 4. In those 4, they've drew 2, lost 2. The latest was a 2-0 loss to Coventry. And I don't know what's going on there. I expected them to push on a bit more, but it's not quite clicking at the moment. And it's making me think there's a chance here for Forest to possibly win the game, but I think to get a point. So I'm going down the middle, 1-1 draw. On to Stoke versus Barnsley now. And Stoke, they've got 13 points from their first 6 games. Very good start. They beat Huddersfield 2-1. So they're doing very well. Barnsley, they've got a point per game at the moment. They're on 6 points out of their 6. And they're doing okay. They're not really pulling up too many trees. I think this is going to be another 2-1 victory for Stoke. And finally, the last game is Swansea versus Millwall. Now Swansea, last time out, they drew 0-0 with Hull. They haven't scored more than 1 goal in a league match so far this season. They lost Andre Ayew and Jamal Lowe, and they're really struggling for goals from anyone other than Joel Pirot. Millwall, on the other hand, they just look like the draw specialists. They've drawn 3 out of the last 6, the last one being against West Brom in that 1-1 draw. So I'm seeing a draw here again, and I think it's going to be a score draw, but Swansea don't score more than 1 goal, so I'm going for a 1-1 draw. And that's it for my predictions for the 7th round of Championship fixtures. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. Please put your predictions in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell for more Premier League and Championship content. Let's hope there's some good games here, and up the Blues.